Good morning, everyone. I welcome all the students to the certificate course in HIV Family Education. I'm Professor Rachna Adsule from Study Center 16158P, which is Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar College of Social Work, Morane, Dhule. The course which I would be discussing today is the code of the course is BFE-102, the title of which is Basics of Family Education. Now, the objective of these counseling sessions is just to give you an overview and to discuss any problems if you have. The entire syllabus cannot be covered in a span of 2 hours. So this would just help you understand what all is there in the course, what all topics are covered, and in brief, what does each topic mean. Now, in this particular course, there are 3 blocks. The first block is on education, is called the Education on Family. Now, when we talk about education on family, it has a total of 5 units. The first unit deals with the concept of family life. The second unit deals with family life education. Third deals with the importance of family life education. The fourth is the role of home, school, and religion in imparting family life education. Whereas the fifth unit deals in personality, development of personality and moral values in life. So this is what the first block is. As I told you, there are 3 blocks. The first block covers these 5 units. Now, when we talk about family, we all know that family is a basic unit in any society and it is the foundation of any society. It has been defined differently by different people. Now, what George Peter Murdoch says is that family is a social group and it is characterized by common residence, economic cooperation, and reproduction. These are the 3 important factors he says that are the characteristics of a family. First is common residence, where everyone stays together. Economic cooperation means where all cooperate for economic reasons, whether one person works, two-person works, whatever, they take care of the entire family. And reproduction, which is one of the major rules of a family. Reproduction is producing children. It includes both sexes, both male and female could be there in a family, and at least two of whom maintain a socially approved sexual relationship and have one or more children, which could be their own or they could be adopted, or of sexually cohabiting adults, which means they could be married or they could be live-in partners. So this is what Murdoch says. Now, what Giddens says is that family is a group of persons linked by kin connections, the adult members of which assume responsibility of caring for children. Kin relationships is blood relationship. So all a group, family is a group where all the persons are linked with family, blood relatives, and the adults have the responsibility of caring for the children. Now, what the Oxford Dictionary says is family is a set of parents and children, or members of a household, especially parents and their children. So that is how the dictionary defines it. Now, we all know that in India, there are 2 types of families. One is the joint family and the nuclear family. In the joint family system, when the children get married, they do not move out, they stay with the parents, and which means that there are 2 or 3 generations staying together. But in a nuclear family, it is only mother, father, and the children. So that is how it is. But we all know that now with this urbanization, there is a change in the structure, and we are moving towards the nuclear family system in India as well. Now, the UN Declaration has said that family is a natural fundamental unit of society, and it is entitled to protection by society and state. Very important. What the UN Declaration means is that the society is protected. It has to be protected by both the state as well as the society. Now, the UN Declaration 1948 and UN Convention on Rights of Children 1989 are 2 important international documents which reflect the thinking of the world community about the importance of family, which means it has been universally accepted that family is the basic and most important unit of any society. Now we look at the other concept, which is marriage. Now, according to the Oxford Dictionary, marriage is a legal union of man and woman in order to live together and often to have children. So legal here, the word legal is used, which means that it has to have some kind of legal standing where both a man and a woman they decide they live together, and most of the time they decide to have a children. In some exceptional cases, they may decide not to have children. Another definition is it is a legal union which has the sanction of society, state, and religion. For those who believe in religious or religious practices, those who don't believe there are intercaste, interreligious marriages as well, that is fine. But otherwise, generally, it is a union which has the sanction of society, state, as well as the religion. Another definition is marriage is between a man and a woman, not between a girl and a child. This means that there are some prescribed norms to define adulthood. Only adults can get married. In India, prescribed age for marriage for girls is 18 and for boys it is 21. Now, Giddens says that marriage can be defined as socially acknowledged and approved sexual union between two adults. So here the focus is on socially acknowledged and approved. And it is the sexual union between two adults. That is how Giddens defines marriage. Now, when we look at family life in the Indian context, as I said, family is the smallest unit of it, and it consists of a male, an adult female, who decide to freely agree, that through the institution of marriage, they will live together, they will have children, they will rear the children, and they will also educate the children. This is what a family means in an Indian context. The traditional Indian family still continues to be a joint family. As I said earlier, in India, especially in the rural areas, majority of the families are still follow the joint family system. What that means is that when sons and daughters get married, they do not leave their family. That depends on whether it is a matrilineal or patrilineal family. In case of patrilineal family, sons continue to remain stay with their parents along with their wife and their children, which means the son, daughter-in-law, their children, grandchildren, all of them, they stay together. Whereas in some instances, the families are matrilineal, which means that the females are the head of the family, women are the head of the family, and this is seen in several communities in Kerala and also in many tribal communities. So there, what happens is that the sons after marriage they move to their wife's residence, whereas the daughters, when they get married, they continue to stay with their parents. So this is how it is that they live in with the spouse and the children in their parents' home. So there are three generations staying together. This is a joint family. There, here also, it could be that some maternal uncle is staying with them, or auntie is staying, or cousins are saying. That is also possible. Then that is called the extended family. But basically, the joint family is where the children do not leave their homes after marriage, but they continue to stay with their parents along with their spouse and children. Now, in the joint family system, what happens is that there are well-defined roles of each of the member knows what his role is. And there is a lot of cooperation between the family. There is solidarity, and the members support each another in times of need. Now, if the father, it depends on if the father is the head of the family or the mother could be the head of the family. Whoever is the head of the family will get a lot of respect, and all the children and grandchildren will obey the head of the family, who could be the grandfather or the grandmother, depending on the type of family, whether it is patrilineal or matrilineal. Now, in most Indian homes, what happens is marriage is a responsibility of the parents. Parents will usually go and find for a partner for their child. So they will start when they are at a marriageable age. We all know that parents start looking out for a bride or a bridegroom. But in few situations, young people will find their own partners. Now, this is especially the case in rural areas where the education is much higher, and also they're more independent. So with this, what is happening is there is a lot of change in the entire social scenario because of the industrialization, development, urbanization. There is exposure to media, and there is a lot of availability of better and professional education. So the family pattern is undergoing changes. What is happening is that one that we're moving more towards in the urban areas, especially towards nuclear family system, and second that more and more young people are finding their own partners, finding their own matches. Now, this particular family type is emerging to be more independent and striving to become more self-sufficient, which means they find their own ways and try to be independent. They are not dependent on the other family members. And in that sense, they also have autonomy, and they make decisions pertaining to their lives. So that is how it is happening in the current scenario. Even in some of the rural areas, youngsters are, trying to find their own matches. And if it is many a times, it is not still acceptable in the rural areas, but changes are happening slowly and steadily. One more factor to this is that women are getting more educated. So, as a result of which, they have started taking up jobs outside the home. Up till now, they were confined in the home, and their duty was just to take care of the home and the children. But that is no longer the case. Women are also educated, they are also taking up jobs, and they're taking up equally important and paying economically beneficial jobs. Because of this, also the age of marriage has become much, they marry at a much older age as compared to earlier, when the age of marriage was very low. As soon as 18 or even before 18, the parents used to get the daughters married. But now, till they come, by the time they complete education, they settle down in their profession, they do not marry. So the marriage also happens of the girls at a older age. Now, women are becoming more conscious of their dignity and are becoming more independent and responsible in family and society, where they are not just homemakers, but they are also economic contributors, and sometimes even at par with the men, or even more than the men they earn. So in that sense, they're more independent, and they have a lot more responsibility in the family as well as in the society. Also, what has happened is that a number of legislations have been implemented and enacted to improve the social conditions of women in India, which also includes a political participation at local, state, and national levels. So, which means women have a say in their families, in their neighborhood, in society, as well as in the state or in the country in which they are living. They're performing responsible functions. Now, when we say that there is a family cannot exist without some relationship and bonding. So, relationship and bonding are very important, and they're very central to family life. For a quality family life, it is necessary for the members to be sharing a good relationship and bonding amongst them. Now, the relationship depends to the extent of communication and collaboration between the people. For a good relationship, there has to be a good amount of communication, and also they need to work together and to understand each other and collaborate on different issues in the family. If there is no communication, or if there is miscommunication, the possibility of bonding becomes lesser. The relationship becomes strained, and that does not lead to a good family life. Now, when we talk about communication, emotional communication is very important. And emotional communication is a part and parcel of a sexual relationship as well. There has to be love between the spouses. Only then there will be love between parents. If there is love between the spouses, there will be love between them and their children. So the entire atmosphere depends on what the relationship of the spouses is. The ability to bond also depends on the experience of reliable love which a individual has during his childhood. A child who has never doubted the commitment of both parents to each other and to himself or herself will naturally develop trust and openness. Once the child feels, that both the parents, there is a very cordial atmosphere at home. Both the parents are committed to each other as well as to him, which he feels that he feels secure. He feels, yes, this is a safe space. There is trust and there is openness where, the parents are committed to me, means I can rely on my parents, and both the parents also have a good relationship. There is an ability that the to develop a bond is higher among such children. A child must necessarily have a father and mother and a home to grow. It is very important. That is why we say now that institutionalization is not a good option unless there is no option at all. If there is no other way, then the child must be put into the institution. Otherwise, for normal growth of individuals, the child needs to have a father figure, a mother, and also a home to grow. It could happen that sometimes there are unexceptional circumstances where either there is a divorce or separation or there is death of one parent, then there is no option. But otherwise, these both of them play a very important role in the life of a child. Now, with this, we have discussed now the family, the concept of family and family life in India. The next concept is on family life education. Now, when we talk of family life education, what is family life education? It is a broad and very broad and flexible field, which means that it covers a number of areas, and there is a possibility also of including many more areas which may not have been thought of till today. Now, anything that contributes to the growth and well being of the family is family life education. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional, it could be economic, it could be spiritual. All this is included under the umbrella of family life education. So, the central point here is anything that contributes to the growth and well being of the family is included in family life education. Now, family life education refers to a variety of formal and informal efforts by which persons become ready for the roles and responsibilities of family life. Now, there are two things which are mentioned in this particular concept. One is that it could be formal effort, which means if it happens in school or in some other institution, if training is imparted, then it is a formal type of a family life education. Informal is it could happen in at home amongst the peer group. That is informal. Now, what is the aim of this? What does this family life education do? It prepares the persons to accept the roles and responsibilities of family life. Now, when we talk about a family life, there is a family life cycle. All the families go through a particular life cycle, and there are various stages in this life cycle. The first stage is called the bearing families. Now, at this stage, what happens is that the couple is newly married and they're learning to, synchronize their ideas, habits, values, and so on. Because these are two different individuals coming from two different families. Even brother and sister from the same family are not same. Their ideas, their habits, and their values are different. So when the couples coming from two extreme backgrounds, different backgrounds, naturally everything will be different. So now what they're trying to do is learning to live with each other for the first time. Now, differences will appear from time to time, but what is important is that the couple resolves these differences and establishes a meaningful marriage, which is very, very important. Now, this first stage will have a bearing on the other stages of the family life cycle. If this stage is it is a foundation. So if this is smooth, this is strong, and it is built on trust and commitment, then the family would be a very well bonded, meaningful, and healthy family. So in this stage, as we said, newly married, trying to understand each other, build a meaningful marriage. The second stage is childbearing families. Now here what happens is for the first time, the couple enters into conception where they decide to have a child. Now, with the coming of a new child, what happens is there is a lot of changes. Na? Everything changes. The financial situation, the leisure time, the time that is available at hand, the privacy that the couple would get, the entertainment, all of this will undergo a lot of change. And what becomes the focus here is to proper childcare is the focus, and both the parents are involved in bringing up the child. Here, the attention is diverted between the newcomer and the spouse, which means that the wife shares her time with the child and the husband shares the time with the child and the wife. So, which earlier they were only sharing amongst themselves, now they have their whole focus shifts to the child. So, this is the childbearing family. Now, the third stage is families with preschool children. What happens here is the parents need, there are critical needs, no, of preschool children, because this is the stage where maximum growth and development happens. Now the parents, this is the stage when they start thinking of whether they should have one more child or not have one more child, because preschool means that the child is already now 2.5 years old. So all those important decisions are made. If they want to have, when do they want to have? Here again, it is very stressful in terms of energy. A lot of energy is required, and if there is some help from the family or there is some domestic help available, it is probably more easier to manage the families. But otherwise, the family, it is difficult, and there is a lot of adjustment that has to be made in this particular phase. Now, what happens is the women mainly would cater to the demands of, taking care of the house, and if they are working, then even wage earning, mothering, being a wife, all of this puts a lot of pressure on them, which means that they have so many roles to play. They have to take care of the house. They have to be economically contributing to the family. They have to be a mother, so they have to be mothering the children. Also, they have to be play the role of a wife, so sometimes it could overwhelm them. Husbands now cannot no longer just assume the traditional role of wage earner. Earlier it was, that the husband used to just go out and work and be the wage earner or the economic earner in the source of economic provider in the family. Now what happens is the husband also needs to share the household work, and it may also be difficult for some men to actually cope up with this. So now that there could be misunderstandings that could come up within the couple, and so that is why this is the time where they need to understand each other and again revisit their relationship and make it more stronger. The fourth stage is families with school children. Now, what happens is the focus now from when it is preschool, probably it's not much of academics now here, but the attention has to be paid to the child's education and his or her growth needs. The parents have to collaborate with the demands and expectations of school. School also puts in a lot of demands on the parents. There are a lot of expectations in terms of helping the child in her studies or his studies and in the development aspects. So that is another area now which the family has to pay attention to. The next stage is fifth stage is families with adolescents. Now we all know adolescence is a very very difficult phase, and adolescents have special problems and they need a lot of help and understanding of the parents at this stage. It is a very very crucial stage for them, so parents have a very crucial role to play at this stage. Now, as the parents approach adulthood, parents must ensure that there is a balance between freedom and responsibility. Up till now, what happened was the parents took the decision for the children. That no longer remains the case now. Adolescents want freedom. But when we give them freedom, we should also make them realize that freedom comes along with responsibility. So you need to, if you have the freedom to make a decision, you should make responsible decisions. So that they need to ensure that there is a balance between these two. Now, how they can do that? By helping their children to plan and execute plans which will be beneficial and productive in various life situations. So that is how the parents need to train them. The sixth stage is families as launching centers. What happens is after the young adults complete their education, or maybe they complete their college education, they may go out for further studies, or they may go out for a job, and they may leave the home. And especially so in the urban areas and even in the rural areas now, once the children get educated, they either move to the cities for further education, or they move to the cities for obtaining a job. Now, at this stage, what happens is the parents are left alone. So there is a sense of loneliness. Now, this particular stage is referred to as the emptiness stage. Now, emptiness stage is very, very important, phase in the life cycle of a family. It is very surprising, but research shows, and it is a known fact, statistics are available on this particular thing, that the maximum divorces happen at this stage. The reason for this is that this is the first time when the couple gets married, they come face to face with each other. Now, this is the second time they come to face with each other, because up till now they were so involved in bringing up the children and catering to their needs, and taking care of their career and the family and all of that. That was the focus up till now. But now what happens, all of a sudden, probably they are also retiring, and their careers are now, towards coming to an end. Children have moved out, so they come face to face with each other, and there is a huge gap of many years. Both of them have changed as individuals, so they rediscover each other. So if they're able to understand each other, develop a trust again, and move on, it is the best thing. But many a times it so happens that they're not able to continue, and they decide to separate. Now, at this stage, the children need support and guidance for various cultural, religious, and traditional family-based events, like marriages, birthday celebrations, other ceremonies in the company. So the parents would generally guide the children for all these things. The seventh stage is families in middle years. Now, here what happens is they have retired, they're away from work, so they have a lot of time at hand. So now it is important that at this stage they develop some hobbies, so which probably they didn't get time for earlier. So that after retirement they can use their time in a constructive way, which also helps the mind and body remain healthy. So it is very necessary to develop certain hobbies at this stage. Now, the eighth stage is families in late years. Now, here what happens is that there is a death in the family. Probably one of the partners may have passed away. So they have need to learn to cope with this loss, and may have to live alone, continue to live alone. So, and what happens is that the children again are so busy with their own lives that probably they are not able to really be with their parents, or to address the concerns of their aged parents. Very often it happens, especially in the urban settings, that either the parents are then moved to old age homes, or there are nurses or other service providers which are who are engaged to look after the parents. So this is as far as the life cycle is concerned. Now, when we talk about a life cycle, we realize that there are different role a person plays in different stages of the life cycle. It is not one role that a person plays in the family in the entire life. With each cycle, the role it changes, and the demands are different, expectations are different. So that is why it was necessary to understand the family cycle. Now, when we talk about family cycle, we realize that how important family life education is. Now, why is family life education important? Because it has an educational role. It educates the family about various aspects. It acts as a crisis manager. If in case the family is in a crisis, or individual is in a crisis, family life education will help the individual and the family to come over the crisis. Like we just said, if there is a death in the family, it is a crisis situation for the partner or the spouse. So with family life education, they're better equipped to handle this particular crisis. It also provides skills for preventive action and knowledge for decision making, particularly amongst adolescents. Now, and then how you can prevent certain problems and how you can reach certain, how you can make decisions, because adolescents only know that they need freedom, but they do not have the knowledge as to how to make decision making, how decisions should be made. A simple example is that they come across this is the stage where they come across the opposite sex, and to really decide whether it is just infatuation, it is love, what all you should look for in your marriage partner. So there are a lot of these skills which need to be imparted to the adolescents so that they can take right decisions regarding the marriage or any other matter which concerns them. It helps in family life education, helps in understanding one's own role with the changing family structure and functions. As we just saw that the traditional Indian family is undergoing a number of changes. The joint family has moved to a nuclear family. The functions have changed in the family. Women have started working outside the home. Men are expected to also contribute to work at home. So both are jointly taking in the responsibility. So family life education also helps in understanding the role with this, because since the family structure has changed, so what are the new roles they, and how to cope up with these new roles. It also helps, the family life education helps in proper understanding of the family life cycle. That what is each cycle, how important it is for the growth of the family and for the growth of each family member. And what are the demands of every cycle and what are the roles, how to cope up with the roles in the different life stages of the life cycle. Now, the next concept is objectives of family life education. So the first objective is to develop knowledge regarding the concept of family, its roles and functions. Three things. What is a family? What are its roles? And what are its functions? Family life education provides knowledge about all these three things. Family life education aims at developing the ability to deal with family relationship and responsibility. Very important that family cannot exist without relationship amongst the members. So it also develops the ability to deal with relationships within the family, and also each member has some responsibility in the family. So also to deal with that responsibility. The third objective is to developing life skills to cope with different situations. It provides the necessary life skills which are required in different situations. Family life education aims at helping in understanding and coping with changes in one's own life and changes in the society. So there are two things. One is there are changes which happen in each one of us lives. Now, our life is not the same all the time. Changes keep happening in the life. So how to understand these changes, how to cope with these changes. But when changes are happening in our lives, changes are also occurring in the society. So also to understand and cope with the changes in the society. Probably the society which was there at the time of our parents, it's not the same society any longer, or the society that is there in the social norms and the society that exists for our children is not the same which it is for us. So every time there is modification, there is change in society, societal values, societal beliefs, and in society in general, the norms that the society follows. So it is also important to understand these and to cope with these. If you keep going back and saying that in our times it was not like this, it is not going to help, it will only make situations worse for you. So you cannot take time back, you have to move and change, move forward, you have to change. So that is what family life education aims at doing. Family life education aims at developing knowledge about physiological processes in one's own body, especially the process of human conception and birth, which is very important to know our own physiology. There are so times when the girls start getting their menses, and they are so scared all of a sudden because they see blood, because they do not know that is a natural process. So providing family life education also provides knowledge about these things. What is your body, understanding your body, what are the processes that happen in your body, how does childbirth take place. I have known such innocent girls or even boys. I don't know about now, but at our times, when I'm talking about, say, probably 20 years back, um, um, uh, many of the children, many of the adolescents did not know how a child is born. They would ask questions like, "Does it, will I will I have a child if we kiss each other?" So these things, that how is conception happening, what is the process that is involved, and when can a child be conceived. uh, so this also is one of the functions, very very crucial functions of family life education. Now, in general, family life education seeks to create responsible and useful young citizens. As I said, responsible is very very important. It is easy to ask for freedom, but it is very difficult to be responsible. But unless you are responsible, you cannot be a civic individual in the society, and you cannot contribute to the family, to the society, and to the nation. So it is very important that you are useful and responsible citizen. That is what family life education ultimately aims at creating. Now, we have looked at what is family life education, why is it important, and what are its objectives. Now, who is it that imparts family life education? Someone has to impart family life education. Now, there are various agencies who impart family life education. There is a role that each the different agencies play in imparting the family life education. The important ones are, first of all, parents. Then there is the home, which provides you with the family life education. Then there is your school and education system, which provides you a role in this thing. And then there is religion as well. When we talk about parents, uh, the parents, earlier there were many topics which probably were taken for granted, and it was thought that these are things that really don't need to be informed to the children, or they no longer need to be, they don't need to be discussed with the children. But this is no longer the case. It is very important that the parents should impart family life they are important in providing family life education. They help the children understand the role of the family, the different members in the family. Then also important things like what is responsibility, what is freedom, how to take decisions, how to solve problems, and all of that. Now, they also an important thing is that the entire building of the personality and character also, parents and home has a very important role to play, because the parents are your role models, and the child learns from the parents. If the parents are able to provide a consistent environment and consistent disciplining, and and they're able to provide ideal role models, it will have a positive impact on the lives of the children. Many a times, parents may just theoretically preach that you should not lie, but the next minute when the phone call rings or the mobile rings, now the phone no longer rings, it is the mobile which rings. The child is told to answer the mobile, and he is told to answer back saying that my mom is not at home or my dad is not at home. So this is inconsistent disciplining. The child gets confused that the mother is lying, the father is lying. So can I lie or I should not lie? Or is it okay to lie in certain situations? So this is something which will confuse the child. So the home has to be a place where there is consistent and sustainable disciplining. Again, if one parent says something and the other says something else, if one parent gives the permission to go for a movie and the other parent refuses the permission, again that could have a negative impact on the child. So that is why the whole, what is it as an individual, what is my role, what are my responsibilities, all this the family gives a lot of, it is the family forms the basis of family life education in imparting family life education to the children. Now also education of our marriage happens at home. What is marriage? They see it is demonstrated by their parents. So whatever they see, they observe, they pick up, and that is how they make meaning out of marriage. Say so whatever they see, they feel that this is what marriage is. Also, the entire concept of sex education. Actually, it is the parents who should inform the girls or the boys about what are the physiological changes that will happen in the body. How do you deal with these physiological changes? What is childbirth? And what is marriage? So all this kind of sex education also, it is necessary that it should be imparted at home. But now what happens is that one thing is especially in the Indian context, several topics are considered as a taboo, and parents do not openly discuss many issues with the children. Now, even if they sometimes want to, it so happens in many instances in Indian homes, especially so in the rural settings, the parents themselves are illiterate. And probably they do not have the competencies to actually train the children in family life because now because of the old values and norms. Now in this circumstance what happens, the school is a important agent of imparting family life education, and probably it is also a more reliable agent because there they have trained people who can actually impart this kind of education to the children. So it is very important that the school gives a detailed and systematic uh, uh, teaching to the children on these topics, on the entire concept of family life education. There are various topics that are covered in the syllabus, like, the physiology of the body is covered, conception is covered, all this is covered. So, to more scientifically explain it and to, really pass on the knowledge to the children, school is a crucial agent to do in terms of family life education. Now, another way where how family life education happens is through the peer group. Now, peer group has a lot of influence in the adolescent age, especially on the minds of the individuals in terms of attitudes, interests, and behavior. It is more influential than even the family sometimes. The peer group helps the youth to get socialized now because they live in a group, so they know what are group norms, how do you socialize, how do you interact in society, how are you supposed to behave, what are the social norms, how you are supposed to conform to the social norms. There are norms in every society, and every individual has to follow those norms. You cannot, if you violate those norms, it is not normal, it is abnormal behavior. Also, what another thing that happens is that the youth are more, they feel more free to discuss and ask questions along with amongst the peer group. So peer group also plays an important role in family life education. Another agent of family life education is religion. Now, each religion has its own laws and regulations for marriage and family. So they also have a responsibility of family life education towards its members. So the youth should be given the opportunities to learn about marriage and all related concepts about family. We especially see in the Catholic religion, they have these youth group meetings on Sundays where premarital counseling and things like that, and a lot of information is passed on, and it prepares the child for different roles or the youth for different roles in the family life cycle. So religion also could be an important source of family life education. Now, this is as far as family life education was concerned. Now, we look at what is the development of personality and moral values in life. Now, we all know that each one of us has got a very different personality. No two individuals are different, similar. Each individual is unique and has his or own personality. Uh, Now, when we talk about personality, many a times, we refer it to as physical characteristics, but it is important to understand that physical appearance or outward appearance is not personality. Personality is something much more deep rooted, and it includes a person's character, emotional disposition, sociability, and other aspects of what a person says and does. So it is a product of a prolonged process of physical, mental, emotional, and moral development, which means it is not just the physical component, but personality has four important components which interact with each other. Those are the one is the physical component, second, mental component, third, emotional component, and fourth, very important, the moral development. Now, according to Gordon Alport, which I think is the most frequently used definition of personality, what he says is personality is a dynamic organization. Dynamic word is very important, which means it does not stay absolutely the same all the time. It keeps changing. So, personality is dynamic organization within the individual of whose psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment to the environment. Psychosocial means physical, mental, emotional systems. They determine his unique adjustment to the environment. All of us, as I said, are unique individuals, and all of us have unique ways of adjusting to our environment. Even if two individuals are put in the same situation, they will not react differently. Both of them will have different adjustment mechanisms to the environment. So that is what Alport says. He says that personality is a dynamic organization. Very important to understand this definition. Personality is a dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment to the environment. So this is as far as understanding what personality is. Now, how is personality developed or how is personality molded? Now, there are two important factors that contribute to the molding of the personality. One is heredity, and the second is environment. Now, there is often a debate as to whether it is heredity or whether it is environment that contributes more, but both are equally important. Heredity is what is passed on to you through the genes. Now, when we talk about, say, intelligence or we talk about certain traits of physical appearance and all of that, that is hereditary. That we cannot change, no? But environment is something that keeps changing and it contributes to the development of the personality. In environment, again, there are different components. Environment would include your family, your culture, your economic environment, social environment. All of this is your environment, which plays a very important role. Now, two children born at the same time in two different families will have absolutely different personalities because the families are different, the family situation is different, the culture is different. A child born probably in the home of in a tribal home and the child born in a high class middle high class family in an urban area, both born at the same time, will have two absolutely different personalities because they are born in two different families. So their environment is totally different. Now, as I said, the environment includes your culture. There are certain things which are promoted, or there are certain things which are prohibited by certain cultures. Like, for example, a very simple thing, that in some cultures, drinking is accepted as a normal part of life. In tribal culture, especially where they themselves cultivate the mahua flowers and at every occasion, the women and all of them, they on even happy occasions or if there is a death in the family, any sad occasions also, they're celebrated with this local or homemade alcohol. But probably in some other cultures, especially in say Muslim cultures, alcohol is not accepted and not an acceptable part of life. No one is supposed to consume alcohol. So again, culture helps determine what kind of personality an individual will be. The economic environment is very, very important. Economic environment determines the access to your resources. No, so a simple thing that when a child goes to a school, what type of a school the child will go to, that is determined absolutely by the economic environment, whether it is the uh, Jilla Parishad school, whether it is a municipal school, or whether it is a convent school, or whether it is a private English medium school, or whether nowadays there is an international school, ICSC board, CBSE. So, all this is determined by this thing. And the type of school you go to again will play an important role in molding of the personality. Social environment again is important. Social environment is, um, uh, your entire socialization process, your peer group, your society, your extended family, your relatives, your people with whom you interact in school, your teachers, your probably friends. All of this would form your social environment, your colleagues at work. So this is the social environment. Personality is a product of both heredity and environment. And as it was mentioned in the earlier definition, we said that Alport said that it is a dynamic organization, which means it keeps changing. With changing situations, the personality can undergo changes. What it was when the child went to preschool may not be the same when he starts working, because he's been exposed to a number of things and he has undergone a lot of socialization. So the personality will also undergo changes. Now, we talked about personality, then we'll look at moral values. Now, moral values are very important. What are moral values? There are, as I told you, that there are certain cultural norms of behavior which are controlled or which are laid down by the society. And we are supposed to abide by those norms. Learning of these moral values refers to a manner in which a child internalizes these norms of behavior. Now, a child needs to understand what these norms are and behave according to those particular norms. Now, when he develops moral concepts by learning what is right and what is wrong, and also by understanding the use of punishment and other techniques in inculcating moral values in children. Now, as I just gave you one example, the moral value of not of lying, of not lying. Moral value is not lying, not stealing, all of this. So, these need to be actually, they play a very important role in the lives of a person. If the child is not taught right at the beginning, or if he does not understand to differentiate right between wrong, if he does not understand that stealing is wrong, probably he may get act against the culture norms laid down with the society. He may commit crimes of robbery, which may get him into conflict with law. So, all this, even the whole concept of juvenile delinquency, not only as adults, but crimes are committed even when the children are below the age of 18. It could even include murder, rape, and all these kind of things. So, moral character is very important, where the child internalizes certain kinds of behavior and he understands what is right and what is wrong, what he is supposed to do, what he is not supposed to do. And this should be in accordance with the norms laid down by the society. It is not something which I can decide what is right for me or what is wrong for me. Anything that I do uh, which actually impinges on the rights of someone else would be wrong. If I if I commit a robbery, I am using my freedom, but I am harming someone else's freedom of right to his own property. So that is why this moral behavior plays a very important role in the entire behavior of the person. Now, it is said that moral behavior is important in terms of HIV control. Cultivating good moral values will prevent the individual from indulging in unhealthy sexual relationships. Now, one of the major causes of HIV, as we all of us know, is unhealthy sexual relationships. Unhealthy could mean having multiple sexual partners. It could mean having unsafe sex. It could mean having sex without relationships, or having commercial using the services of a commercial sex worker for sex. So all of this. So what it is believed is that if good moral values are cultivated in the individual, to some extent the individual can be prevented from indulging in unhealthy sexual relationships. And this will definitely prevent the occurrence of HIV to some extent. The society, through institutions of marriage and family, regulates the sexual urges of man. Now, this that is the societal norm, at least, and of course now it is changing, and live-in relationships are also acceptable. And but more or less, marriage gives some stability, and it is an important institution in society. And it's one of the important functions is to regulate sexual urges of man. Sexual urges are natural and normal. It is not something abnormal. But how to deal with that could be normal or abnormal. There are certain people who will continue having sexual relationships only in the marriage. There could be others who would seek pleasure even outside. There could be a third extent, which is an extreme, they could even commit rape. So, how to regulate your sexual urges again is an important moral development. So, if the society takes care of regulating those sexual urges, and family is actually the institution of family is built for that particular purpose. So, good moral values can help save an individual from the clutches of disease like HIV, AIDS, and STDs. HIV is there are several other sexually transmitted diseases which could also happen because of these unhealthy sexual relationships. Now, with this, we come to the end of block one, and I think it's 11, right? So we will stop here. I hope every one of you have understood at least some concepts. I know it is difficult to uh, really imbibe all of it in just 1 hour. But I have one request, that in case anyone has any questions tomorrow, right at the beginning of the session, on whatever has been discussed, we can take up those questions and then move on to the other two components. Thank you, everyone.